Welcome back to the Hammerdown Festival YouTube channel. Today we're sat with Ian and Lyndon from the wonderful Struck Down. How are you doing, guys?
Smashing. The weather's nice. Whoa.
It's it has been tipping it down all day. It's been
Yeah,
horrendous,
yes.
thunderstorms, hideous. I'm sure you've had it as well. It's been crazy.
This is a typically British interview where we talk about the weather.
Yeah,
Yes.
get it out of the way straight off the
Yeah,
bat.
yeah,
Now,
good.
now's
Well,
the
that
good.
that no, that concludes this interview. Now we've discussed it. Um, so,
The criteria was.
gents, I want to dive straight into the new music because it's been a busy year so far. Not so much on the live front, but you've been working really hard behind the scenes. Now, we've just had two new tracks out, and there seems to be a similar theme going on with the covers for both of those singles. And I wonder, are these building up to a body of work? What's the process and what's going on with new music at the moment?
Oh, so I mean, you artwork wise, I mean, we want it to all sort of be cohesive so that, what I mean, if every single that came out with this piece of artwork is all going to look like it belongs to a set, like maybe Prince or something. Wink. That was a subtle wink, by the way.
Yeah.
Musically, I think, yeah, realistically, but if this is a post Watershed interview, the criteria was grooving and big dick energy for a lot of it. Obviously, you can't have an entire album of big dick energy because
People can't handle that. People can't handle that.
it needs to be by comparison, really, doesn't it? Otherwise, you've just raised the average dick energy too big, and then I mean, no one's going to be able to enter the building without mahoosive dick energy. We're just playing with the bar, but most of the album's been themed about sort of like I think lyrically about just struggle. Everyone's kind of I won't say everyone's struggling, but everyone has struggled really, and even those that don't have physical struggles, they'll struggle with their self. So a lot of it's written on a sort of very image based, metaphorical sort of basis that we're hoping people can kind of cling to, and others just with a few choruses that you can really belt out some sort of lyrics that resonate with you. I mean, I think you got people struggling with how hard they have to grind, like they're having the whip cracked all the time and they've not really got any time for themselves, and others is because of the views that they have of themselves, or they're constantly seeing criticisms of people like themselves online and stuff like that. And it's just, I think between us five, we've all experienced a pretty wide range of, struggles and hardships and things like that. I think after previous releases where it's been more concept based and we've done a lot of storytelling, it's been nice to kind of get back to, making music that people can relate to. And even if it doesn't make you feel chipper, it just makes you feel a bit less alone, right?
Mm.
So I think that was at least what I kind of tried to keep in mind whilst writing. Is they're difficult to kind of summarize, really. But
I think you summarised it quite well.
cool.
Yeah.
I would say you have. I mean, yeah, basically it's all working towards an album which will be out later this year.
Cool.
And we,
Okay. Very nice.
yeah, I think that's what Lyndon was
Yeah.
getting at. Yeah, but also, yeah. See, opposite ends of the spectrum, like we said, me and Lyndon. Yeah, it is. There is a consistent theme, which we want as a complete package. That package will be the album, which will be out later this year.
Fantastic.
Mm.
My next question, Lyndon, was going to be about your lyrics. Actually, cute dog, by the way, Ian. I was
It's
just going to,
cat.
yeah.
Very cute dog.
It's a lovely dog. Lyndon, I was going to chat more about your lyrics. Actually, it was one of my questions. You do seem to write lyrics that are very different. A lot of the song titles aren't obvious. A lot of the lyrical meanings aren't immediately obvious, and you have to listen to the songs a few times to understand some of the metaphors that you write about. I want to know what your process is for writing lyrics, because when you talk about writing lyrics that are more relatable, on these last two songs, yes, I would agree, but there's still levels to what you're doing where you uncover things after a few listens. You're not writing chart music that is, I feel sad because of breakup. That is easily relatable.
So if this might upset some people, I think in most cases, love songs, heartbreak songs, things like that, where you sort of play into that obvious easy win, I feel like is quite lazy writing. There's totally space for it. I mean, man, I've written a load of love songs, but they were easy. They come so easy, and you know what I mean. You're sending people to that same image, and you'll probably find that most lovey lyrics is just something that Shakespeare spat out several hundred years ago, and we've just put it into more modern wording. You know what I mean? Like it's all been kind of written about. You know, like there's parts in this album that people will probably pick up that it's like there was like a nautical inspiration. Now the songs aren't about a sailor at all, but you know, I think like respecting the waves you're on almost was I think the mentality I had at the time. So I'm obviously influenced as in my writing process because I think 3 songs all had this strange like nautical influence of like waves and storms and crashing about and things like that, and they all came from a set few weeks of writing. I mean, believe it or not, there'll quite often just be a little garden chair there set up when I come out for a cigarette, and that'll be where I churn out a load of lyrics. And
Wow.
sometimes these lyrics, I'll have a full set of lyrics with bridges and choruses and things like that, and the words are there before I can write them down. It takes me longer to type them than it does to think of them, and I've done that in 10 minutes. There are other songs which I won't necessarily say on the album, but Our Decline, that was a bit of a baby that I wrote about half of it, and I couldn't finish writing it for another few months. I just couldn't find what fit. So yeah, I think I grab inspiration maybe from what I listen to and what's been happening, but oddly, it'll be little tiny sort of like influences. Believe it or not, I think it was I think it'll be the last single that comes out, which will probably be just prior to the album release came out. And what sparked that set of lyrics, believe it or not, I saw a white crane fly above where I was working, and I started Googling and things like that. And I'm going to admit, like Google will quite often be a thing because I'll look for sort of maybe spiritual meanings of things or folklore around certain things, and I'll through doing a little bit of reading of maybe fiction or again like historic tales or whatever, and that'll quite often give me maybe a metaphor I'm looking for, and I've just got to articulate that in a way that is lyrical. Often I kind of write with a sort of limerick in mind, and I try and write it with a bit of a word bounce, as I put it, like the dibbity dibbity dee, dibbity dibbity dee, and I try and bounce off of that, so it makes a lot of our songs very lyrically dense.
Yeah. Okay.
There's not really much space for breathing and things like that, but it's probably what leads to me having a bit of a different sound to many.
Interesting. Okay. I wanted to touch upon you did Breaking Bands Festival this year in May, and I wanted to just ask how you found that experience.
I mean, I loved it. I think I had more of the festival experience than Ian was able to experience. I managed to have a bit of time away, like Tommy did. So he stuck around and managed to actually take in the festival, which was great. Really well-run event. Possibly the safest feel that I've ever had to a festival.
Oh, so lovely, wasn't it?
Especially for a week. It's like, I mean, I've got 2 little ones, and it was just one of those events where it was like, I almost feel like if I had 2 kids and one of them got away from me, like my kids would run, almost like someone else would shepherd them back to their parents. You know what I mean? Like it really has a safe vibe. Everyone's so considerate, and that's not just the people that run it; it's the people that go there.
Yeah, it was a nice bunch, wasn't it? Yeah, everyone was so friendly.
All of the bands, you know, it was just a really sweet experience. It made me feel like I was part of a community that made me feel proud to be part of it, if anything.
Oh,
I
love
great
that.
metal community. Yeah, it was really nice.
That's good. Ian, I want to chat about the social media side of things. You guys have been working very, very hard online. Your TikTok presence has grown rapidly, and that has very obviously influenced other areas of your game. We've got fans coming out to your shows now saying, we've found you on TikTok and we've driven 2 hours to come and see you, and we don't know any of the other bands playing today. Your Instagram's exploded. The YouTube views on your videos have all like doubled since you've gone on this crazy social media run. Everything seems to be going really, really well. And I wanted to know, how much work does it take and how worthwhile does it feel to you guys for other bands that are saying, oh, is it worth doing all the social media stuff?
Social media is kind of like you need to do it. If you like us, we want to like grow the band and we want to play in more shows and bigger shows. Realistically, like you said at the beginning, like we can't gig as much. We can't be gigging every weekend or every other weekends to reach all these new people. So social media is a great way of like reaching out to people and reaching a new audience. And yeah, TikTok really blew up beginning of this year. We did a course with a guy called Troy.
Sure, it's Troy Titley or
Troy
Tightly.
Titley. Troy Titley or Tightly. He's in Nuns of a Tundra. His their Instagram page has blown up. He's really helped us grow our social media presence. And Tommy and Pete are definitely doing the lion's share of like the work and uploading. And we're just trying something. We just keep plugging away at it. Like there's always a valley of despair with social media where you think it's not going anywhere. But
I think it's a delayed reaction, isn't
yeah,
it? You have to
yeah,
put a lot of
definitely.
work in, and then you see the fruits of your labour, right?
Yeah, and it's already paid off. Like it has equated to our shifting more merch, which is great. Like our new round t-shirts did really well. And then, like you were saying about people finding us on social media, like there was a couple, or the lady in particular, she found us on TikTok and she bought a Breaking Band's weekend ticket just to see us, which is mad. Like, and that's not just like a 20 quid ticket. It's like, I don't know, what was it, 70 quid or something?
65,
like,
I think. 65.
Yeah, for two, and there's two of them. So, that's an investment. And we chat with them afterwards and we had a great time. And yeah, that's the most rewarding thing.
That's
like, it's really cool. And it's trying to make social media fun as well. Like,
yeah, and that's
the other thing.
That's a key, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's understanding the impact that it can have. So, guys, I've got one more key question that we've been asking everybody in these interviews. If you were to build your ultimate festival lineup that you would appear alongside, I want you to give me 6 bands that you'd love Struck Down to play with.
Lyndon, let's do 3 and 3. You go first.
No, don't make me go first.
Okay, fine. I'll go first. I'll go first because I need to try and include the others in this who aren't here. So I would say to play alongside Malevolence would definitely be one. Malevolence because we all love them. And then I guess like I'm trying to think what Lyndon would say as well. Bleed From Within because I know we're big fans. We're really big fans of Bleed From Within. There's like a lot of that energy in Struck Down nowadays. And then, like Gojira would be another one. Again, there's a bit of like Gojira energy in like how we've been writing. Like, so yeah, that's a good sort of like, that's definitely me, Tommy, and Pete covered, I think.
Wow. Okay.
Lyndon.
Even in its current lineup, I'd love to play with Pantera.
Okay, Pantera, yeah.
I think whether it's for his current ability or what it was, Anselmo's just. His vocal ability in the past has been almost unmatched, and not that it would necessarily carry across in our sound, but a huge inspiration. And I'd probably get little girly tingles.
Nice.
Oi! I'd love to play with 12 Foot Ninja.
Whoa! What a fun band they are. Okay.
Basically, like I found myself since really listening to them, just having like every now and then 6 weeks of being obsessed and listening to not much else. So yeah, 12 Foot Ninja would be great.
They are fun.
Yeah, it's so good and fun. It's like, but again, they clearly heavily lean into that sort of like groovy and genre bending sort of style of things.
Yeah,
they're not really playing to a rule book, which I quite like about them.
Yeah,
so that's Pantera, 12 Foot Ninja, and Mastodon.
Okay,
love to play with Mastodon.
That's a big bill, guys. So. Struck Down would play alongside Malevolence, Bleed From Within, Gojira, Pantera, 12 Foot Ninja, and Mastodon. That is pretty big.
Honourable mention will probably be like Lamb of God.
Yeah,
well. Lamb of God, another one
to come up. I was expecting that one to be.
And you know what? I thought Linda might say Lamb of God.
It was, to be honest, Lamb of God, and even though it's a bit less. I mean, I won't say Five Finger were one of my sort of like top 5 influences or anything like that, but I feel like we would be a hit amongst the Five Finger Death Punch audience.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? I feel like how well we would go with the audience of would also be a contributing factor.
I mean?
I feel like if we were like warming up for Five Finger Death Punch, I feel like we'd have a happy crowd.
I think that would be the case. Okay, gents, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Really looking forward to the album for the rest of the year. Everybody at home, if you haven't yet, check out the new singles. Go and listen to them and get your tickets for Hammerdown Festival. We'll see you all very soon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much. See ya.